So we are going to continue along here in our decimal place value exploration. In the last video, we learned how to make decimals 10 times and 100 times bigger. We're going to now go the opposite direction, and we're going to focus on making them 1/10 the size and 1/100th the size. So go ahead and make sure that your notes still match, update them if needed. You can continue right on the same sheet. Great. So we are going to use the similar strategy that we were using in the last video, where we're going to start by using our place value chart. So we are going to have 0.02, which we know in mathematical fancy talk we say as 200ths. So we're going to make 200ths 1/10 the size. Or in other words, we'll remember that this fraction bar could also be written like this, means divide. That's all a fraction is. It's a division problem. So we're going to essentially divide by 10. Okay, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to make the number get smaller. So we're going to make it get further from our decimal point. Okay, so we look at our last digit of value, and we're going to move that last digit of value. It looks like a 1, but I was trying to outline it. One place value spot further away from 0. So we'll plop it here. We'll fill in the holes with zeros. Okay, and we ended up with 0.002, or 0 and 2 1/1000ths. So we're going to go ahead and say, all right, our hypothesis is that it equals 2/1000ths. We're going to test it or prove it using the whooping strategy. So here's our original number, 0.02, 200ths, and we're going to make it 10, I was getting ahead of myself, 10, a tenth of the size. We're going to divide it by 10. We're going to use that whooping strategy. So we want the number to become smaller. So as we whoop, we know how many whoops we're going to do based on how many zeros we're dividing by. So 1 0 means 1 whoop. And I'm whooping it this way because as I drop down 0.00, drop down the 2, I want the number to be smaller. If I whoop it the other way, I'm going to end up with 2/10ths, which is bigger, right? So I've moved it so that I ended up with a smaller number, and it matches. Bing! So we're going to now kind of recognize where we were, right? When we were dividing our 200ths by 10, it got 1/10 smaller, okay? So we ended up here at 2 1/1000ths. We get spitty. Now we're going to divide by 100. So we're adding on, we're going to divide by one extra zero, or one extra place value spot. So we're going to end up, instead of being at 0.002 as we were, right? We're going to divide, I'm going to erase that 2, and we're going to end up dividing by one extra zero. We want to whoop it down one place value spot. So that's where it was when we divided by 10, but we want to divide by another 10. 10 times 10 is 100. So we want our 2, our last digit of value, to end up in the 10,000ths place value spot here. We're going to fill in with zeros, right? And so when we divide by 10 in the red, we got 2/1000ths. When we divide by 100, we're going to end up whooping the wrong, oh, that was the wrong direction. This is going to happen to you too. Let me undo that. Okay, ready? Here I go. I'm going to make it smaller. So I'm going to go whoop it, one spot, whoop it, another spot, and I've created this big gaping hole that I need to fill in with a 0. So now I've ended up with I could add a 0 here, say 0 ones, 0.0, and then I'm going to drop down what is in red here. So I'm going to drop down 0, I'm going to drop down this 0, and I'm going to drop down this 2. So holy cow, I have 0.0002, which reads as 2/10,000ths. So when we use the place value chart and we use the whoop, we got the same thing. So make sure to go back to your notes and make that match. You can show your whoops right in here. Whoop, whoop. Mine is a little too big, or my paper's a little too small.